Cool. Welcome all to another Inference Gateway Inference Extension meeting. Just as a reminder, this is going to YouTube, and we are a CNCF project. So for both of those, please be respectful. Please be kind. There are just a couple of us today, so we can wait, or we can just go ahead and get moving. I think, Bob, why don't we jump to you since you are here? Why don't you take it away with your proposal, Bob?
Oh, yeah. This is should I present or you can just Kellen, you can just
Yeah, you know what? Let me give you co-host. You can present.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me see. Okay. Yeah, let me share the window.
Sorry, I moved you up
Okay.
in the agenda.
Yeah, can you see my share screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. This is mainly first I propose this discussion. And also the title expressed the idea pretty clear as the redirect and the traffic splitting within an inference pool. So currently, we don't have a way to do this. We used to have an inference model to redirect the model name, but then we deprecated. We have the inference objective. So today I want to this. So the key idea for this to implement is do the request body mutation because um, currently we are OpenAI requests. So the model is in the request body, and if the model server is serving a different model, we have to do some way to mutate the request body. And for this discussion, I mainly want to discuss if this use case ID is if this use case a valid use case, and also the high level idea we want to implement in this. So for the use case, we can think of as one is a seamless model upgrades. We can use multiple inference pool, like this example here. Currently, we can do this. We can have multiple inference pool and do the traffic splitting and use the background and refs and use weights here. But the missing thing is this didn't mutate the request body. So that means the inference model server has to be exactly the same as the request we send to the inference gateway. And second is what if the user wants to host different model or different LoRa adapters within an inference pool, and then we cannot do the traffic splitting here. And also, A/B testing is similar to the model upgrades. It's just like specifically we need the traffic splitting more demanding on the A/B testing. And another use case is large-scale LoRa management. I particularly want to hear about like how people using LoRa here and how they want to update the LoRa within an inference pool. And semantic routing probably not perfectly fit in this, but like the fundamental way we want to solve semantic routing is similar to what we have here. Also, probably we want to have a lot of models and we want to derive a perfect model for this prompt. So technically, we also need to mutate the model in the request body. Yeah. Yeah, and also for the high-level idea, we originally have a proposal from Abdullah, but there is some limitations preventing us using that feature. And in that proposal, the mapping, the wait a minute. Yeah, the model mapping of the model alias is recorded in the HTTP rules. You can see here we have the food review, and then we want to modify it to food review v1. This is the way in this proposal we record the mapping. But it has some limitation on the unvoid filter order, and also it has only max 16 rules supported. So yeah, that's it for this discussion. So the idea is mainly want to identify like first the use case and then how we implement it. Yep. Any comments?
I not to put anyone on the spot, but Pierre, are you aware? I know you're involved in LLMD. Are you aware of any LoRa needs specifically with regards to like routing and traffic splitting? I know we've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not aware of like concrete use cases, but I know like some of the IBM people have been looking at these kind of hundreds of LoRa handling, and I think we discussed that at some point. I think that what you know essentially is what I know as well for their use case. Not much more. Yeah.
Cool. We can cross-reference this into LMD then as well. One comment is I would be very, very soft on the semantic routing angle. That is work that is very much being covered both in a different part of Kubernetes and in VLLM. So maybe if you wanted to pursue the semantic angle, I would definitely coordinate with Huamin, who is involved in the AI Gateway Working Group and in the VLLM semantic router.
Okay. Yeah, I think for more discussion, I'll probably also post this in the Slack channel to get like more ideas and feedbacks. And yeah.
Cool. Okay. Moving right along, I don't think Nir will make it today, but he does. We have migrated to the formal Kubernetes YouTube channel. So next time you talk to Nir, say thank you for managing that and taking care of it. So to continue on through the agenda, Rob, with the agentic networking for Kubernetes, I will give you co-host and.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I'm just kind of doing a tour today of all the meetings that feel relevant, which conveniently happen to be back to back to back, which is great. And so apologies for anyone where this is repetitive. I'll try and keep it very brief here because I think the overlap is relatively limited. There's, I've seen a fair amount of interest in doing something for what I'm calling agentic networking. There's a lot of different terms out there, but basically, the way that I would describe it is providing some kind of guardrails for communication between agents and tools and agents and agents. And there's also some potential future scope, which I think is where the overlap or potential overlap with this group comes in. At some point, obviously agents do talk to LLMs. I think that's, P2 or P, it's in the future anyways. It's not quite as burning of a need as describing agent to tool and agent to agent communication. And so yeah, that's a problem that we're trying to solve. If and when this, scope is expanded to cover agent to LLM communication, this doc is basically just saying, we will work closely with GIE and working group serving to cover that. But yeah, this is just mostly FYI. And also, if this is an area that interests you, I mean, I know there's only so many people that are working in this space, and a lot of us tend to have the same basic set of interests. So if you're interested, would love to have you on board. Yeah, this is just early days to describe a problem and see who's interested in building a solution around it. And I will leave it there for this meeting. Cool.
Sweet.
Oh, actually, I guess I own the next thing in the agenda
Yeah.
anyway. I don't know why I stopped
right.
presenting. Yeah. Okay. My bad. Let me keep on running here. So the next one in here is basically just let me present real quick. So Ricardo added an issue. He can't be here, but I think it's an important one. We've talked about it before. But basically, the idea is that we really should have some conformance test coverage that, at least in the default mode or in a mode, inference gateways should validate that the endpoints returned by endpoint picker are actually part of the inference pool. So basically, if endpoint picker starts sending you, nonsense IPs or trying to route you to localhost or some other nonsense, you should probably ignore that and not trust it. There are exceptions to that. I can imagine that there are going to be some endpoint pickers that want to route to non-kube endpoints or something like that. There are exceptions to every rule, but I think the standard and happy path would certainly involve only trusting the endpoints that are actually part of the pool. This feels like a good use case for a conformance test, and just raising it in case anyone has use cases I may have missed that would invalidate this conformance test, but otherwise I think it makes sense to move ahead with something like this. And yeah, I think that really is all for me this time.
It would be a feature you could turn on and off, right? Just in case, like you said, someone wanted to do something different.
I think this is the first. So far, every conformance test we've had is required. In Gateway API, we have, and maybe this is also required, and there's a mode you can run in an inference gateway or in some inference gateways that allow you to kind of go outside of that mode into like a untrusted, unsafe, whatever mode. But I think maybe we start with this just being a requirement, and and it's optional if implementations want to provide a mode that allows you to go outside of these bounds.
Okay. Another question on conformance test. We have a test, and this is for Bob as well, around multiple pools supported for the gateway, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. Cool. All right, then that leaves me. Sorry, I should have added this onto the agenda earlier. I totally forgot. Let me share my screen. So this is a proposal that I will turn into a formal proposal PR. But basically, this is around adjusting how information across the endpoint picker's pluggable system works. We currently kind of let each plugin manage its own state, which we're not taking away. Since a plugin is you're writing essentially your own package, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to communicate that data across the system, we needed more formal ways to do so. We had the predictor that is an experimental feature that needed to use prefix cache match data. And so it had to do a convoluted system where it wrote a scheduling profile that just ran the prefix data, and then another profile where they ran their predictor, because they could then guarantee the order of scorers, which guarantee the prefix data. So that's one angle. Also, when we kind of get into the mixture of experts and data parallelism, we're going to want potentially more sophisticated ways to aggregate data across endpoints, because endpoints are not completely independent in that serving model. So we would want more sophisticated ways to create and handle data. Also, flow control is being added, which is going to want data across the system. So we needed a really formal way to manage this. Basically, it's kind of a form of pub sub, but it's not a pub sub queue by any means. But we do have specific plugins that can produce data using this producer's endpoint, and then all plugins can consume the data. There are two concept levels of data. There is what I am calling pool level or request agnostic. Basically, this data can be collected and has no connection to traffic running through the EPP, versus request specific data, which is like a prefix cache match. That is the overlap of your pool state with the request specific semantics. So there's some nuance there. I won't go into it too much in this call. If you're curious, please read the doc and ask questions. But this is kind of the plan of record of what we're doing. Again, I will move this to a PR. I just wanted to kind of get some first passes. I've ran this past the LMD community. They're on board as well. Any questions? I know that was really, really brief, but just any overarching questions.
I was just wondering, I think generally, like, yeah, the data model is pretty good. Like, I'm wondering if, because I saw that the request, like, overall we assume that we're going to support the chat completion API only. I'm wondering if it's now a good time to think about non-JSON data in the input.
For multimodality?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a separate topic from this, but I think a totally viable one. So if you don't mind, I'm going to add that to the agenda, and then basically we'll jump to it if there's no other questions. Any other questions on the EPP framework, the data model we're changing there?
And just to confirm, I think I understand this, but you're not actually changing. This is all within endpoint picker. It doesn't change the input to endpoint picker or the output from endpoint picker, right?
No, it's exclusively, yeah, the inner system itself, the ability to support novel implementations while still using the framework.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving right along to Pierangelo. So with the multimodal support, go ahead. Yeah, please take it away. If you need to present anything, I can give you co-host.
No, I don't have anything concrete, but I was wondering because we assumed JSON in the input and we try to parse the body. And that forces the only API we can support is the chat completion. I can see how, like, the framework and especially like flow control as well, like, can be useful regardless of what's the input data. So yeah, I was wondering, as I was looking at the like API of your process data, or if that could be generic, or we need more I don't know, mechanisms to say, oh, this plugin applies to text, this plugin applies to these other endpoint, or these other type of data. I don't know, something to think about. Because I think there is definitely gains to get for smarter scheduling on other types of endpoints that are in the, if you want to stay compatible with OpenAI, that's pretty good.
No, and that's a fair point. We've been very much assuming LLMs, and with multimodal models, I don't think we can assume a single serving mode. Yeah, I think this is very interesting. I thought I saw a PR. Was that yours that supported multimodal input and output?
No, maybe it's there, but no, it wasn't me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here, let me look up that PR. Sorry, I know this kind of ruins the flow of the conversation, but we actually have some time.
Would you be able like to have a quick summary? Is it like, for example, I mean, multimodal? There are multimodal LLMs as well, right? What
But
is
then are they an LLM? Because it's not exactly language, but
multimodal LLMs? Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I mean, they're called visual language model, but
yeah.
yeah,
well, that's
but
that's the multi like that's like you're talking about like something else, right? Like different type of model.
yeah,
But
but
there is
yeah, I was just go ahead.
But-
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that there is multimodal LLMs, and there is like other types of Gen AI like diffusion and so forth. So are we talking about supporting like different types of like Gen AI models, or specifically multimodal LLMs?
I would think about like even like I don't know, transcription endpoints that VLM supports. You can still have inference gains there if you have smart routing, or um, other endpoints that OpenAI supports and VLM also supports. That I think it would make the framework and the core more applicable to other use cases. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to scope it. Like this is I
Mhm.
on board. Like,
Yeah.
but just scoping it would help us like wrap our heads around, okay, what are the actual gaps,
Mm-hmm.
and also understanding how to prioritize, like which ones are gonna move the needle, for example, in the near future.
The gap right now is that the parsing is assuming JSON.
JSON assumption. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the major one. And so what we're doing is essentially skipping inference gateway when it's not chat completion,
Got
and
it.
that it's VLM directly.
Do you have capacity to maybe test this out? Because I can point you where in the code, and you probably know, but where you could change that JSON assumption.
Yeah, I know what is it.
Yeah.
It's generally though like it's kind of passed it through like the format of the chat completion is kind of assumed across the board in every plugin.
Yeah.
What are the other like yeah, I think it would be nice to have like an open an issue with
Yeah, I
concrete
will.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
endpoints you're trying to hit, like other than the chat, and how are they different from what the assumption we're making right now, and we take it from
Yeah.
there. I think that would
Yeah,
make it
well.
concrete. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Abdullah. I think it's fair to say that we are open to supporting any of the OpenAI endpoints, but I think we will just handle them and on an as needed basis, just to prevent massive scope explosion. So I think that sounds great. Let's cut an issue and talk about exactly what you want, and let's figure out how we can add it. Hopefully that gives us lessons and generalizations for the next time we need to add a new one, but totally open to supporting that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We can kind of have an open forum, but this one might be a little short today. We got to the agenda pretty quick. Going once, twice. Cool. Thanks all. Talk to you later. See you next week.